Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. Thanks for tuning in. Ham Talk Live will be on the air shortly. Please stand by. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you by Tower Electronics. For cables, connectors, and more, call 920-435-2973 or visit pl-259.com. And by the Ham Station. Get your new radio or antenna by calling 800-729-4373 or go to hamstation.com.
It's Ham Radio.
Good evening, everyone. It's Ham Talk Live, episode number 69, the Hamvention Wrap-Up, recorded live on Thursday, June 15th, 2017. I am your host, Neil Rapp, WB9 VPG. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Ham Talk Live. Tonight we're joined once again by Michael Kalter, W8CI, the official spokesperson for the Dayton Hamvention, to talk about how the first year went at the new location and the changes being made for next year. And we'll take your calls live in just a few minutes. Well, last week on the show, Bryant Rascal, KG5HVO, was here to talk about his CW operations. And if you missed that or any other show, you can always go to hamtalklive.com and pull it up there, or on any of the podcast outlets like Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Google Play, TuneIn, or SoundCloud, and we're also over on YouTube. But I have an update. Speaking of last week's show, I had asked Bryant on the show if his parents were going to get licensed. And Bryant said, well, there's a one-day class coming up soon, and Mom's talking about maybe going. Well, very pleased to report that Bryant's mom, Lauren Rascal, did indeed attend that class. And yes, she passed her technician exam. So congratulations to Lauren, better known to us at the moment, at least, as Bryant's mom. So congratulations on becoming a ham. Her new call sign is KG5TQO. And she mentioned to me in an email that the Hamvention experience is what put her on board trying for her license. So great story there. That she got her license, and Bryant's already scheming multi contesting with Mom. So we'll look forward to seeing how that turns out. Also this week, just for fun, I posted a picture of Flat Hammy. So we've got a cutout version of Hammy the mascot. So print out your copy of Flat Hammy if you want to, and send us a picture with him from anywhere you go this summer. Maybe it's a ham fest, field day, club meeting, vacation, sporting event, you name it. And all the instructions are on the page. You can send it in by social media or email or whatever. And if you don't have any social media, you can find it on the schedule page. If you go to hamtalklive.com, click on the schedule page. At the top, there's a link there for shirts, and then right next to it, there's a link for Flat Hammy. So check that out if you want to, and we'll have some fun with that. Well, we're going to talk to Michael here in just a moment, so get your questions ready to go about Hamvention and After we talk about a few things, you can give us a call at 812-NET-HAM1. That's 812-638-4261. And we've got some issues with Skype. We're trying to work them out. We finally got a hold of some people at Skype, and we're trying to work it out. So we won't be able to take any Skype calls tonight. You'll have to call the phone number, 812-638-4261. But you can tweet us also. Our Twitter handle is at hamtalklive. So I'll be back with Michael right after this word from Tower Electronics right here on Ham Talk Live. This episode of Ham Talk Live is brought to you in part by Tower Electronics. Tower Electronics has been the Ham's dime store since 1978. When you need connectors, mobile and handheld antennas, cables, or adapters, visit Scott or Jill at a Hamfest near you. Or you can order online at pl-259.com or call 920-435-2973. Stock up on those supplies like PL259 and N connectors, SMA adapters, audio cables, soldering supplies, mobile antennas, and ham sticks. Their silver-plated N connectors are even used on the International Space Station. Tower Electronics carries MFJ, Comet, Daiwa, OPEC, Workman, and Ham Pro products. And don't miss their 0% off sale going on now. Tower Electronics, online at pl-259.com, proud to sponsor this episode of Ham Talk Live.
At Ham Talk Live, we use commercial breaks to debate where the seeds for seedless watermelons come from. Now, here's Neil Rapp with more Ham Talk Live.
Thanks again to Tower Electronics. Scott and Jill, they're there for you to help bring you Ham Talk Live. And if you missed them at Hamvention, you can see them this weekend in Monroe, Michigan on June 18th. And July 8th, they'll be in Oak Creek, Wisconsin. Or you can call them at 920-435-2973. Or visit their website at pl-259.com. Tell them you heard it on Ham Talk Live. Ham Talk Live is on the air every Thursday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time right here at hamtalklive.com. Or you can catch us later on the podcasting outlets and on the website. Michael Kalter, W8CI, is the official spokesperson of the Dayton Hamvention and the treasurer of the Dayton Amateur Radio Association. He's been kind enough to be on the show several times lately, and so he is back to tell us how everything went. So, Michael, welcome to Ham Talk Live.
Hey, it's good to be back here, Neil. Appreciate what you're doing for amateur radio, and appreciate to get yet another opportunity to discuss Hamvention.
Yeah, so we're going to wrap things up here a little bit, pardon the pun. And I know that you've got some traveling coming up. You're going to be heading off to Germany here soon and talk about Hamvention there and some others. So before we dive into the questions here, why don't you tell us what you've got coming up there in the travel plans?
Well, there's a team of us that are going to go to Friedrichshafen in middle of July. Looking forward to that. And I get to be a speaker there. And we'll be talking about Hamvention and things that are going on with our club, Dayton Amateur Radio Association. So that's always an honor. That is a great event, Friedrichshafen. And we simply enjoy hanging out with our friends there from the DARC. And if you've never been to Friedrichshafen, it's an absolutely beautiful location, a beautiful place. Then shortly after that, we'll be heading to Huntsville and see our friends down in Huntsville. And I think that's sometime in August. I can't remember the dates. And then after that, we're packing our bags and we're headed to Japan to the Japan radio event and talk about Hamvention over there. And people are always fascinated to hear about amateur radio in this country and Hamvention. So we're marketing all that. It's important. We're an international event, being Hamvention, and we like to talk about it all over the world.
Very good. Well, first, let me congratulate you, Dara, the Greene County Fairgrounds staff, the public safety officers, and the over 600 volunteers that pulled off Hamvention in just under 9 months at a totally new facility. It's just a monumental task, and I congratulate you totally on the event and appreciate all the work that went into it. And we're looking forward to some attendance numbers here in a little bit. Is that right?
Yeah, I have the attendance numbers, but that's not important, but we can get to it toward the end of the program if you're interested. So.
I am definitely interested, so we'll talk about that here in a little bit. So, well, there were some issues that came up, but I think things went pretty well, and your volunteers, they were everywhere. They were in the parking lots. In fact, I didn't mention this one. We can talk about the parking thing in here in a little bit, but there was a guy on a megaphone with instructions. There was a volunteer sitting out there with a megaphone, trying to help people get around, and you guys did a fabulous job.
Yeah, I can't really convey I can't hardly convey the gratitude that we all have for 657 volunteers, that put on Hamvention. Nobody got paid anything. I mean, we had to give donations to, or not had to, but we did, people to help park, and we had to, make sure that we had good fire and EMS. But beyond that, our club members from all over the world came and volunteered, and with good attitudes, trying their heart out to make it a really good event. And I'll tell you why they do that, why we do that. Because it's not my event, it's not Ron Kramer, who is our general chairman, or Jack Gerbs, our assistant, or any of the committee chairs. Everybody's working to make this happen because we love amateur radio, and we do see amateur radio, Hamvention, as an important pillar. And I want to mention this. I get a lot of emails of information, and people are welcome to email me their ideas and concerns, whatever they want to send, because I pass it on to the correct people. But I received one email that particularly moved me, and it was the fact that they really so appreciated that Hamvention continued on, and that it was at a better location in their mind, that it even got them much more excited about the hobby than they had been for a long time. And so with that, we've begun to do our job a little bit in Hamvention, because we want that to happen. We want more interest, and then we want to give back to the amateur radio community, which I think people see that we do that.
Absolutely. And then we've got success stories like Lauren, that that was what put her over the top to encourage her to, hey, maybe I better give this a try.
Yeah, that's just great. I quickly got a chance to well, when I was at the Contest University, I was a speaker in the morning, and when it started, and welcomed people to the event. But Bryant was up there with me, and I thought that was pretty great. And I believe he's going to be attending the Dave Kalter Memorial Day Expedition for Youth at my brother and Don Dubon, N6JRL, started some years back, and my brother passed on of cancer, and I sure miss him. And if he's listening, hey, Brother David. So, but go ahead.
Yeah, I know how that's going. I've, in fact, today again, last two shows, I've been running back from my dad's. He's just been diagnosed with leukemia here recently, and so we're trying to make all those preparations for nursing homes and all that kind of thing, and so been kind of running around. So we appreciate the remembrance of your brother and that Youth Day expedition, to where these kids like Bryant can go, and like Ruth did, and Some of the league girls were able to go on a real de-expedition. It's just a pretty cool thing.
Right. Yeah, it is. Wonderful thing. But once again, I can't tell you how much I appreciate all of our volunteers and, Ron Kramer and Jack Herbs, their leadership, and our DARE board. Everybody's working as a team. And one other thing I do want to mention before we get too far along is that we all the people that run these big radio events, the group down in Huntsville, the group in Germany, the Orlando team, and almost any other big Hamfest event, or even a smaller one, we all are partners in this, and we don't consider it competition. We want to see everybody succeed, because if we're such a small community right now, that if we all work together in the spirit of amateur radio, it's really going to be, it's just going to do nothing but get greater. And just to further on top of that is, the real spirit of amateur radio and Hamvention, or any of these events, these belong to all of us. When you're at Hamvention, you're really a member of it. So so we appreciate the feedback, we appreciate the help, and hope that everybody enjoys it. Go ahead with that.
Oh yeah, I totally enjoyed it, and there were some trade-offs. We were talking before the show. A lot of things were considerably better than Hara Arena was, and I don't know if you've heard the Hara Arena song yet, but if you haven't looked, boy, she
Beautiful.
absolutely
Beautiful
nailed that song. But and I drove by Hara on Wednesday night on my way in, and just kind of looked around the outside a little bit for old time's sake. But just look at the place. It's like, wow, it's such much better facilities. At Greene County, and there were some things that we're going to talk about a little bit that did come up that weren't issues at Hara, but there were so many positive things that it was a great time. It was just different.
Yeah, let me hit a couple of things right away. Is that the mud? We're definitely aware of the mud situation, and we are already taking steps. Actually, with the Fair and Expo board, they're working together with an engineering group. We are going to improve that. But the tent situation, with poor lighting, and we had heavy winds at times in the rain, and so that we've already had several discussions about the possibility. It's not a done deal, but the possibility of having them build another large building for our event next year, so we can eliminate all the tents. And then we've already are trying to get more food vendors in. I'm sure we will, and more places, more picnic tables will be staged in the kind of the courtyard area, so people have better places to sit. And of course, we had the bleachers there as well, but we still seem to fill everything all the time. Because it was the attendance number. Yeah, well, we'll get to that, but it was a bigger number than we've seen in a while. And the sound in the forum rooms, we are really aware of all these things. For example, we talked to them a lot about the noisy fans in some of the buildings, that we got to get those things taken care of, and they're already working on them. They're already getting that done now. And believe me, we've already had a wrap-up meeting with all the committee members, and the wrap-up meeting was basically the critique meeting. And so the critique meeting is over, and then we're going to move from that, and then we're already doing planning for next year, but get into it even heavier. Ordering online should be easier, because we'll have things already laid out, and we'll be able to learn from our issues. We had to download so many things into our computerized, into our computer system, so we could sell the booths, and that meant having kind of CAD/CAM layouts of the the flea market area as well as the inside exhibit area. So all that being said, it will be much smoother next year. And committee leaders are already working on that. Everybody is. So hitting some of those things just right square away. So we're very excited.
Appreciate you looking into those things and doing what you can. And I know some of those things you can do something about, and some of them you can't. The National Weather Service didn't do their part. You gave them a direct order to hold the rain off, and they didn't come through. What was up with that?
Yeah, I have to tell you that I live near the Weather Bureau for the lower half of Ohio, northern Kentucky, and eastern Indiana, and I'm a net control operator there for events, and so I'm pretty good terms with them. And I was disappointed that it didn't happen. And of course, I've gotten comments. Well, statistically, it always rains that weekend, but not the weekend before, or the weekend after, and move it back to April. And if people remember,
wait a minute, didn't we? We went through. Yeah, didn't we move it from April because of the rain?
Well, because of snow and rain. So right now we're pretty much set on that week. But the Weather Bureau, I will tell you how they really cooperated. If you were there Saturday when that big storm hit, we gave everybody warning. We knew when it was going to hit because the Weather Bureau was tracking that for us. If any weather was going to hit that event, we were going to know about it, and we were able to announce it well in advance that it would be a severe thunderstorm that was coming through, and you even were able to say, well, it's going to last about 20 minutes. I mean, that was a major help, and I'm glad that kudos to the weather station for working with us. And they had a booth there, and tremendous people, and I hope people got to see their forum. I don't think everybody did, but what a great forum they had. But a lot of things went wrong, but we learned from those things. But the traffic the first day, I know that it took you 8 hours to get there or something.
Well, not quite 8, but it was 2.5 on the first day, and we left an hour and a half early. So
I know.
That one was.
But we met with the sheriff's department, the different police departments, and then they went off on their own with some of the traffic engineers, and they fixed it. Because the next day, Saturday, really the traffic flow went a whole lot better, and we had as many people, if not more, on Saturday. Saturday's generally our biggest day. So we got that one taken care of, and we've already been talking to the sheriffs and for next year, and all that went, I think, very well. And we learned a lot, got it all under our belt, and even leaving the event should have been a lot better. And because I ended up having to leave to rush to something, and right after the event was over, and I thought, oh man, I might be caught in horrible traffic. They moved that traffic so well. I was very thankful and impressed. I was not late for my event. Event.
Now, you've talked about some of these things on other shows, so we're going to try to go kind of quickly through a lot of these things rather than rehash a lot of that. But one thing I did want to bring up on the traffic was, what was the solution to the problem on Friday? What was done differently by those public safety officers on Saturday?
Well, I think that basically they were much more aggressive in making things happen, and I don't think that. I think there was a lot of people even coming into the event, parking people, confusion from people. Where do I go the first time? Stop here. Is it this gate or that gate? What do I need to do? People had to drill down by the second day. Plus, we had more aggressive on the traffic lights and the stop signs and things like that. And I think even the second day, a lot more people used the off-site parking, and I had a lot of comments like, "Boy, those guys knew some kind of back way we didn't know." And I thought to myself, well, yeah, they're bus drivers. That's what they do for a living, and they know the area really well. So they know it better than, So that was pretty much it on the traffic. And it doesn't take a lot to pay attention to it. Just getting that flow a little bit better and keeping people moving. So.
Okay. Now,
And
speaking of
putting officers where we needed them. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. Now, speaking of flowing, airflow on Friday was a bit of a issue, and it was just hot. I mean, it was just hot. But I believe I'm seeing something that's being addressed too. So do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, the county commissioners have already promised us that they're going to put. Now, this is truly the name of the company. It's the Big Ass Fan Company, and
In Lexington, Kentucky.
Okay, well,
I have been by there. I have been by there many times.
We'll be installing those as well. They run very quietly, and they push an amazing amount of air, and all the air handling units. I guess when we were checking the place out, we made sure that they went through fixed all the leaks and everything, but I never really noticed the noise from a few of the blowers and air handlers. So we're taking care of that as well, because certainly want to have better airflow. And then once you get a lot of the booths in there, and some of the booths are really built up well, and some of them can cause a little bit of an airflow restriction. But I will say on a positive note, I think the internet was very, very good there. I don't know if you used it, but
it was.
We had a lot of kudos on how well the internet worked, and that was a lot of throwing things together at the last minute. I mean, you can't believe, there was a lot of questions. Well, what's this going to be like, and what's that going to be like? And we couldn't answer some of the questions because, we pretty much wanted to speak with real data, real answers. And once we got that internet in and really working, plus we even had a backup, we were thrilled at that. So,
yeah, I was able to get on and do live updates on my phone with only one time that I had any issue at all, and I couldn't get on at all. And I waited a few minutes, and then all of a sudden I was right back on again. So I was able to do live streaming video, which takes, quite a bit of bandwidth without any hang-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, let me talk a little bit about that, is that Tim Duffy, who's been a real supporter of Hamvention, as you are, he told me, he said, you know what, I used to work in that business. I know these engineers. I'm going to call and let them know to come out and check it. And evidently they did. And whatever they did, we didn't get cell phone complaints. I mean, it depends on who your carrier was, but generally the major carriers were fine, no problem at all. I was very impressed with that. I was very worried about it.
Yeah.
But, it ended up being great. So, and I'm telling you, Neil, the food will be better. The food was great this year, but it'll be better. We want to have more of them, shorter lines, more of that. I love that kind of the mom and pop, family farm food that we were able to gather this year, and will be more of that next year as well.
Yeah,
so.
I had the bourbon chicken, like Tim Duffy said. I had the bourbon chicken, and I had a grilled chicken wrap from one of the other places on the other day, and it was great. The only thing I said, were the lines, but like you said, you're getting some more. Hopefully to come in, and I think it was well worth the wait, because it was pretty good stuff, and a lot of choices that weren't there previously. But here's my one nitpicky thing, and you know what I'm going to say. The Hamfest tradition was missing the cheesecake on a stick. I never found the cheesecake on a stick. Now you've got this whole, what's the word I'm looking for? This whole group of fans of cheesecake on a stick at Dayton, and they weren't there. So can we work on that one?
I'm not going to promise that one. I am not going to promise that one. I'll take a look at it, but
I mean, that was always the thing, you every time you walk by, it's cheesecake on a stick, and you're like, what? Cheesecake on a stick?
Yeah.
And I only got it once, but it was just a tradition. You always went by the cheesecake on a stick, and I know there's a group of people out there. I've talked to many of them that are like, okay, but we got to have our cheesecake on the stick back. So I don't know. We may have to check into that one.
You're the first one. You're the first person that's told me that. So,
okay.
I mean, absolutely.
Okay.
First, so
I know Jill. I know Jill Combs and Joe Eisenberg will chime in on that one, but there's some others.
Okay.
But now,
by the way, did you see Joe's? Joe did a really good video.
Yes, he did two
two
very good videos so far, and we posted those on our social media too. Very good shows. Okay, we're going to finish up with just a couple of things here. Parking. I read a news story from WHIO television that, those were soccer fields, and we kind of left the soccer fields in a mess, but, that's typical for some big event that parks on the grass. And I remember you saying that Dara had already purchased a roller before all of that. So how bad was it, and what condition are they in now, and or have they been able to get things kind of back the way they were, or better?
Of course, they jumped on it nearly right away, and county commissioners taking care of it. We did buy them a big roller for them in the eventuality something like that might happen, and actually roll the fields prior to the event. And now they'll continue to roll the fields, but they're going to also look at ways to prevent some of the ruts. But I'll tell you, I have a really nice fifth wheeler that I was able to have out there, and it became kind of a center of where things were happening. One of our little hidden away offices. But man, I was laying there sleeping on Saturday morning thinking, oh man, this rain is unreal. I mean, it just kept coming and coming and coming. So, but we, went through it anyway. So, are you still there?
Yeah. And one last thing, and then we're going to get into the calls. So, get ready to call in. I know we've already had one person try, so get ready to call in here in just a minute. We're getting ready to go to the call-in segment, but give us a little report on the off-site parking. I know that was a bit of a later add to the plans, but how did that go? And are you looking at any modifications to the off-site parking next time?
Yeah, absolutely. We're looking at modifications of how we would do that. You have to remember that all these things happened in a very short period of time. And along with that, then you have to get certificates of insurance. You have to make sure everything's approved. A lot of people don't realize what goes on, put on an event like this, and make sure that we had busing set up and how that busing was going to work, and where the buses would go, how we would communicate with that. But I had reports that all of them went well. There was one that wasn't used much, and that was actually at Young's Dairy up north of Xenia, just up 68, and had more people use that, and those people got in very quickly for the most part, from what I heard. But I'll take any feedback people have on how the busing went for them. But most of what I heard was, yeah, we jumped on a bus and it worked out great. So, and we're also looking at possibly a better, like a will call area. Say if you're riding a bus, but you bought something big old piece and you want to hold it somewhere until you're ready to leave, and how we could help with that a little bit more. I heard that, and we're looking at ways to do that. The refinements, I think, to make it better.
Sure. Very good. Well, again, congratulations to the whole staff, the volunteers, all the groups that helped out with this and make it a great event. And everybody's been asking, okay, do you have an official count? Do you have an official count? So, do you have an official count?
Yeah, I do, but let's kind of take the phone calls first, and I'll kind of wrap up with that official count. How would that be?
Okay, all right. Okay, we'll do that. Well, here's the phone number, 812-NET-HAM1, 812-638-4261 to call in, or you can tweet us. Again, Skype is not cooperating tonight, so use the phone. Don't use Skype just for tonight. Hopefully by next week, Skype will have us fixed. But until then, if I can talk, 812-638-4261, 812-638-4261, or you can tweet us at hamtalklive. So I know we've got a couple of tweets. We had somebody trying to call, so let's see what we got. K2HAT says gravel will help the roads, make them roads, and cheesecake on a stick. Never tried it at Hera Arena. So, okay, I guess my cheesecake on a stick thing didn't go anywhere.
Well, no, that's only one no vote. That's only one.
Oh,
one
okay,
vote,
okay. We've got a call here, so let's go ahead and do that. Hello, who's this?
Okay, I guess my cheesecake on a stick thing didn't go anywhere.
Turn your sound down, please. Yeah, you're getting the delay there. All right, who's this?
My name's Jim, and my call's W8CI.
All right, Jim. Thanks for calling in. What's your question for Michael, or your comment?
Well, I got a question about the flea market. Are you guys going to try to do something about, since they now know where people are going to drive their cars, put gravel or some crushed stone of some sort down so it doesn't turn into a mud pit?
Well, we're gonna put so much water on it so that we'll keep it muddy so we can wear it down completely to the clay. No, seriously, I was kind of kidding, but we are going to work on that. That was we were very disappointed. I was personally very disappointed because that infield has actually a very good drainage system. However, it could not cope with the amount of rain, the inches of rain that we actually got. We have a roller in there, and the fair board and expo board, they're already on top of this with an engineering group trying to figure out the best ways to make those roads stronger so we don't have all that mud. Definitely, we're on it. I don't have a definitive answer right now, but they're definitely working on it. We don't want that to happen again.
Well, I mean, where people weren't driving their vehicles in the motorized wheelchair stuff, the grass where people were just standing, it was nice. I mean, it drained away quite well. You were right about that. But it's just the mud got to the point, or the grass got chewed up to the point where, it drained, but it drained into mud,
Right, so we're going to fix it. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was going to make a comment about the school buses and the fact that if you're trying to haul like a DX100 or, an Apache or something really big out of the flea market back to a remote parking site, that could be a problem. I mean, it's not like the old the buses at Hera where they were city transit buses with big wide doors and places inside the bus where you can actually put stuff. These are school buses for little kids, and so my thought would be to have I mean, you got tickets with barcodes on them. Scan the barcode, print a ticket, slap it on whatever the piece of equipment you're going to have, and route it out on a truck to the remote site, and put someone out there in a tent and park the stuff there, and then match up your ticket with the equipment when you get there to take it home.
I like the idea. We are definitely aware of that. In the short period of time, we couldn't get to that level of refinement on moving that kind of equipment.
Well, but you didn't know it was going to rain that far.
I mean, just bringing in. Go ahead.
I mean, it was a class act putting all those carts out in the flea market to haul stuff back to your car. That was a brilliant idea. We utilized that a few times, and you just flag somebody down that was driving up and down the flea market and say, hey, I got to come over here and I got to put this stuff, back in the car. And you drive out and they help you dump it in the car, and you're free to go again. That was a great idea.
We need to work on how to do it on the buses better. I agree. Or have, if you're taking a bus, how we can even have a holding area for that. We are looking at all of those things, Jim. But overall, let me ask you a question. Did you enjoy the Hamvention at all? Was it?
Oh, absolutely. Okay? My first Hamvention was in 1966, the morning after my senior prom.
Oh, wow.
You just verbally carbon dated yourself, I think. Jim.
Yeah, well, it's okay. I'm not worried about that anymore.
No, me neither. I'm with you.
Okay, one other suggestion that just came to my mind. Obviously, you can't open the thing at 8 o'clock because people have horses out there, and for whatever reason, and you may want to comment on the situation with that. But while people are standing out there in the cold, especially on Saturday morning, what would have been great would have been a bunch of food trucks serving hot coffee. Not to mention the fact that it's another profit center for DARA or the group or whatever. But it was freezing cold out there Saturday morning, and you guys could have sold out 1 billion gallons of hot coffee while people were waiting to get in.
Well, that's it. We thought about that. What can we do to make the whole experience better? And this is the first time, as you know, I'm not trying to make excuses, but to actually see this was the issue. I really appreciate that. And feel free to drop me an email, too, with these points. So I'll pass them on to the team. So,
yeah. Well,
very good.
I like that idea.
It was a really, really, really good Hamvention. And anyone who's thinking about going next year, go.
Thanks, Jim.
It was funny to see some of the videos on YouTube for people who've never been there before. And prior to the Hamvention, they were worried about this and worried about that, and my comments were, "You have no clue what you're going to get into." and then they got, then the video afterwards was the guy standing there going, "I'm so overwhelmed."
Thank you so much for calling in, Jim. We're going to have to move along here. We're
Jim.
just about out of time, but thanks a lot. We appreciate it.
Great work.
All right, Michael, we're down to the final minute here, so if you're going to give out those, we're out of time. We're out of time. I've got tweets like crazy here, so we'll have to try to address the tweets here in a little bit. But we are out of time, so I want to get that number in. So maybe I need a drum roll here.
Okay.
No, go ahead. No, I don't have one, so go ahead.
29,296. So we were shooting for 30,000, didn't quite make it. Hopefully next year we'll see that number.
Very close, very good. You put on, and the volunteers put on a show for those 29,000 plus, and we really appreciate all that you've done, and thanks for coming on the show and sharing with us and taking calls and taking these questions tonight. We really appreciate it, Michael, and we'll have you back.
Yeah, thanks, Neil. We appreciate, we at DARA and Hamvention certainly appreciate your support for us, plus for amateur radio altogether. So once again, that number that everybody's been asking about, 29,296.
All right. So. There you have it. So thanks again, Michael, and that is a wrap for this week's episode of Ham Talk Live. Thanks to Michael Kalter, W8CI, and everyone out there in cyberspace for listening and calling in. And next Thursday night at 9 p.m., Sean Kutzko, KX9X, will be here to take your field day questions. So he's the former contest branch manager and currently the public relations person at ARRL. He's going to take your field day rule questions and other questions. So if you have any last-second questions, make sure you tune in next Thursday night, and hamtalklive.com has a list of all of those. So 7375, and may the good DX be yours.